We are recording.
Is Ian coming?
I don't think he is. No. All right, let's get started. Hello, citizens. Hi, welcome. Thank you for coming. Do you guys have any comments? Okay, I think we can move on to the minutes then from last time. I'll entertain a motion to pass the minutes from last month.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for the 14th.
All in favor? Okay, so we're on to the bills. I think we had a couple of issues with the internet over at David Woodfield House. I think we got that ironed out. But they kept sending the bills over to Cayman. I think Natalie had put on there, she set it up at Cayman, and so we didn't get the bills, and so then we were getting late fees. And so Anna was having to track that down. I just wasn't clear, and I don't know if anyone here can answer that, but what the monthly fee is for over there.
I thought we had it until last month.
Well, we've got them again. It's $138.55.
I thought that's what it was.
Well, I think there were some extra charges because I think there were some late fees, and I wasn't quite sure how that was all rolling out.
Did she give me a copy of the bill? Or?
Let's see.
Want me to search through this?
Yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to make sure I knew what the monthly charges were for the field house.
Brian thought it? Ask Brian thought it, Brian Christine?
Well, Anna was saying that it kept getting sent to the wrong thing, and then we kept getting these charges, and finally she straightened it out. Okay, it took her like many phone calls to get it right.
I don't understand, what is the internet? He said I didn't have to do, about the internet.
Yeah,
For the
it's for the internet at Cayman.
Got
Is
it.
this the 181.35?
Yes.
Okay.
So that, I just wanted to be clear on what those charges were that we're paying over at the field house.
It's,
Well, the bill there is 181. I thought in the bill it says it's 138. It's the Comcast bill.
oh, it's Comcast.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this is AT&T. They do have cable too, so
Yeah.
like them and...
Oh, yeah, the landlines are 181.
Yeah, it's a little further down. It's about the
But you said that was on our bills last month for the same
I remember
amount?
seeing it, yeah. I thought so.
Yeah, so I think we just need to follow up on that, make sure we know what those charges are, because it was kind of, I know we paid some late fees, and, it shouldn't be more than that for the year.
Well, if we're sending it to the wrong place, I think we could get those waived if somebody would call them just to say.
Yeah, it's-
Yeah, I think she did get most of them waived,
Okay.
but, I just would like to know what the overall figure is.
Okay.
So,
Seems like a lot every month.
yeah, exactly, yeah, so I think, it should be like that for the year, I would think.
Yeah.
Who owned that? Was that Anna Christina that was taking care of
Well,
that?
no, Natalie was
that
actually
Natalie?
taking care of it.
Okay.
So, anyway, that was kind of a mess, so I think, it's something that we need to make sure is all straightened out.
Right, it's not. Yeah, I mean, a month,
131
Almost $2.99.
$2.99 a month.
for home? Just internet though?
But now, we have it bundled. I
One
think
of
he
the home
does
internet
too.
and phone.
There's no phone over there.
Yeah, we have Comcast carries ours. They bundle it all.
Yeah, but it's a separate thing for the field house.
So it's just internet, is it the TV too? I mean, we've got a TV there too. So
Computers?
Probably cable, I would
on
imagine.
the cable, yeah, so 138 doesn't sound like
I
that.
guess not, if that's what. But need to check anyway.
Yeah, I mean, Brian's been pretty much not available, so, I just wanted to make sure we follow up on that. Okay, so, what's next? So, I'll entertain a motion to approve the bills.
I'll make a motion to approve the bills in the amount
Second.
All in favor? Wait a minute, was that the right amount?
What was that?
13,454, right?
18,250.90.
That's what I said, 18,250.90.
That's 1,000, that's the petty cash.
Oh, right here. Eighteen two
No, this
fifty
is
nine.
bills on mine, monthly bills.
18,259.
What am I looking at? I have the 13,454.
Yeah, you're looking at the wrong thing. Did you get a copy of this? These two. There you go. There you go.
So why is this different than that? This is like a completely different number on this. So this is the monthly bills detail, and that's 13,454. This is
I don't-
18,250.
Yours is, that one's dated July 9th. This one's dated July 12th. So
Okay.
somehow you got them earlier. Oh, and see, this doesn't have the check numbers yet, so this is just a draft. This isn't the final version.
Okay, gotcha. I just had copied
Yeah.
that out at home.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, sorry. So 18,250.90.
So that, yeah, motion stands? So.
And you
yeah,
second?
Yep, and I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, petty cash?
Are we gonna discuss, or are we just, I'm sorry,
That was in the bills from last month, wasn't it?
yeah, it was supposed to be, I mean, it was held over to last month because he wasn't here and, no. Yes, it was held over to last month, to this month because Dan wasn't here.
So, Charles, you had sent an email about the $300 payment to Lincoln, or to Dan. Can you
Yes,
talk about that?
I can. So the motion that was passed was to donate $300 to the Lincoln School. Dan's employed by the school district. So I did some research on that at the request of the board. There was some old Attorney General opinions from the 70s that are reviewed, and there's a conflict of interest if Dan votes on that. And since the motion passed 3-2, without his vote, it would have been 2-2, so it would not have passed. He should not have voted on that.
I
It would have
see.
been 2-1. That
No,
was-
it would have been 2-2.
Dan only votes in a tie.
It doesn't pass either way.
Yeah, right.
Right. So if we subtract his vote, so that motion was not properly passed by the board.
So what do we have to do further in case of that? So we didn't actually sign the check,
Right.
so.
I signed the check. I actually signed the check. So I was doing the bills and I signed it, so.
But I
it was
did
just
not
one
sign it.
signature.
Was the check delivered?
No, it wasn't delivered.
No,
It was held.
And the bills last month were approved in an amount excluding that.
Correct.
That's,
Yeah, so that
the
doesn't
excluded altered amount is what was posted to the financials for the district. So it's as if the payment never happened.
I
at
see.
this point in time.
So at this point, we don't really need to do anything else.
Right.
So it's a moot point, it's just he's not gonna get paid, Lincoln School's not gonna get paid, right? And that's
That's,
correct.
it wasn't properly passed, and I advise that you not pay.
Okay.
All right. So I guess that's finished.
So, moving forward, the best way to handle something like that, because I mean, we're not haggling over $300. I mean, the way that that happened, just in my opinion, I just want it on record, is that we did pass a motion for, Dan was heavily involved with making kind of that thing happen. And I do understand as a board member, I attended that. There were, I don't know how many families who were introduced to Ridgeville, some that didn't know anything about Ridgeville, some that who are in the district. He helped with that.
I'm not suggesting that Dan did anything thinking he was doing something wrong.
Okay,
I presume that he was acting in what he thought was the best interest of the Park District.
okay,
But because of his employment, it creates both a common law conflict and a statutory conflict under Illinois law.
okay.
So he should not have voted on it. And there are Illinois Attorney General opinions that back that up. Subsequently, since I advised you, I spoke with counsel at the Illinois Association of Park Districts to confirm, and we discussed it at length.
Oh.
And, you know, he was in agreement with me that Dan should not have voted on that. It just creates, if nothing else, it creates the appearance of impropriety. I'm not saying it's criminal. I'm not saying that he did anything, knowing that he did anything wrong. He just shouldn't have voted on it. That's all. At the time, I was here, but I didn't understand that he worked for the school system that school was a part of.
Right.
So I don't know where everybody works. So I didn't say anything. But once that was pointed out, it should not have been voted on by him. And so it wasn't validly passed.
Is there any way that you can communicate that to him or in an email?
Well, I did put it in an email that he received.
Okay.
And he
Oh,
asked,
okay.
he asked some follow-up questions, and I thought he would be here, and I would talk to him about it then. I mean, I'm still willing to talk to him. I can talk on my telephone. I just thought we would talk tonight.
Okay, well, no, I appreciate the explanation. I didn't know. So, thank you.
I'd like to say something for procedure's sake also. We had a little email about asking questions, and you and I, and you said that if something's going to be discussed at a meeting, it should be on an agenda. I'd like to note that that was not on the agenda, and we really need to pay attention to that.
Okay. All right, I think that's all we need to discuss with that. So as far as the monthly reports go,
Well, there's petty cash.
Well,
Did
my
we do
goodness.
petty cash?
oh, we didn't do petty cash, but your timing is perfect.
Oh my gosh, it's great.
Petty cash.
All right, first we want to entertain a motion to pass petty cash.
Petty cash for $1,850.61.
Second? You got any questions?
I just have a question on the Allen Tan to Dance.
Yes.
So right next to RA 28, we have like 10 question marks, and I don't understand why why that is under, is that because you don't know what category to put it in, or?
He wrote those with petty cash. I think originally Anna was gonna write a check for it out of the corporate fund, but then we didn't because we were contracted to pay them on Wednesday.
Okay, so that's on both petty cash and on corporate bills. So how do we deal, that seems like it's a double posting then.
Seems like it.
I can confirm the payment I gave them was the 2 checks that he wrote from petty cash.
2 checks.
Mm-hmm.
So there was 2 for $650?
No, just one, sorry.
Okay. So why is it on both corporate bills and petty cash then?
I think she just forgot to take it off.
I'm confused, I'm not seeing what you're seeing.
Yeah, where is it?
Or you might be seeing an old one.
Oh, so that's still the old-
And circulated 2 reports at 7 o'clock tonight.
Okay.
Again, are you working with the
That's-
most current version?
No, so that's why.
Okay.
These are both July 12th.
And then it's on petty.
But see, this was just a couple of days ago, so they took that
Okay.
off of there. But then that would have changed our figures. Okay, I get confused because I print this out because I want to look at the bills before I come to the meeting. So, okay, so that answers that, thank you.
Yep.
So motion stands?
Yep, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all right, Natalie, you want to go ahead?
I do. Thank you guys for being patient with me. As I magically be in 2 places at once. All right. Do you want me to start with Brian? Or me?
Sure.
All right. I've got Brian's report here. It says, in the past month, I've worked mornings at Ridgeville due to recovery from my back surgery. I will continue to do this until I get clearance to work from Dr. M.
Mercaducci.
my neurologist who performed the surgery. He's attached a copy of the letter and the recovery instructions for everyone to see. He goes back to the doctor on July 16th. He says, I've had discussions with Anna Nelson regarding her retirement date, and it will now be in late September. I've asked Anna to put the date in writing as soon as possible so we can plan our calendar for her replacement and adjust our 2018-19 budget accordingly. On the 4th of July, we had our races at Cayman East Park. The races were sponsored by the 4th of July Association and executed by Ridgeville Park District. We had approximately 200 participants. The highlight of the event, as always, was the balloon toss for the children and the egg toss for the adults. Needless to say, it was a lot of messy fun. Special thanks to Tracy Alden and the 4th of July Association for their support. Summer concerts begin this Wednesday, July 11th. That was yesterday. I will give you a complete update. Soccer Fest is on for July 14th at Cayman East and West Park. We'll have adult mini soccer games, 2 soccer pitches, a DJ, and a moon bounce for family fun. Begins at 10 and will approximately end at 1 o'clock.
Fun.
Yep. And this month we're celebrating American independence and patriotism. Ridgeville spotlights Lieutenant Commander Edward Henry Butch O'Hare, who was an aviator in the U.S. Navy. In 1942, he became the first naval recipient of the Medal of Honor during World War II, and O'Hare Airport is named after him. The farmers market is off to a good start. We had special guests join us. We have special guests joining us at select markets, including Evanston Games in the Park, the Evanston Book Bike, and Unaccompanied Minors, which is this folk group of these 3 like 12-year-old girls. They're lovely, and they come and play, and it's so much fun. Summer camp session 2. The June session of camp was a huge success. The kids had a great time. July is also off to a good start. Last session, Abdoulaye Kamara came to do a West African dance workshop with the kids. And then this Friday we have Yuta and the High Dukes coming to play for the kids as well. Shakespeare on the Ridge. Mudlark Theater did Julius Caesar for a weekend in June. They had a huge audience turnout, which was awesome. The Ark is opening Merry Wives of Windsor next Saturday, July 21st, and we run Saturdays and Sunday evenings at 7 p.m. through August 12th. Concerts on the Ridge. The concerts began yesterday. We started with Ala Tantu Dance and Percussion. They were awesome. We had a great turnout of folks. We had a ton of kids there dancing up on the stage with them. It was a lot of fun. Hoping it brings in a nice crowd to the park to kind of boost our farmers market as well. Later this month, we have Yuta and the High Dukes and Gomez Far Zuman. The foundation has been working on getting a food vendor to join us for the concerts, and it sounds like we do have one confirmed for next Wednesday. Soccer Fest is this Saturday from 10 to 1. We have 15 teams signed up, 16 after today. There's a drum group that's going to perform this year, as well as a DJ. And there will also be food for purchase. National Night Out. Alderman Fleming has reached out to us again about holding a National Night Out event at Cayman East Park on August 7th. Sounds like we're gonna partner with her again this year. It was a great time last year, so we'll get a moon bounce and a DJ and do the same thing that we did, and I will give you details on that when I've got them. Fall winter brochure, I sent to the printer today, so next time we meet, I will have a copy of that for you. It has all of our classes and programs through the end of March, so it's a true fall winter brochure this year, which is great.
Cool.
That's it.
Thank you.
Welcome.
You're in the Merry Wives of Windsor, aren't you?
I'm in it at this very moment, yes.
Yay.
I just, before you leave, as we move on to our discussing of the tentative budget, Rob and I met with Brian earlier this week about the after-school program. And so one of the things that we brought up, we're going to have an excess of funds because we're going to be moving to a part-time office manager. Did he have a chance to discuss with you what we were going to talk about doing with the after-school program?
He mentioned your meeting to me, but we haven't had a chance to sit down and like really hash it out. But he did mention that you guys had talked about what you talked about.
I'd like
Okay.
to know.
Okay, so what we were thinking was running the program ourselves. Instead of having the City of Evanston run it, having Ridgeville run it. And so we really need to kind of hash out, what that would take. I personally thought that the, maybe some of the salaries might have been a little inflated at the City of Evanston. I was thinking that we might be able to bring those down if we brought it back over here. But what needs to happen is Brian needs to sit down with Natalie and really look at the numbers and, hash that out.
Didn't we try to do that once before and we didn't have very many participants?
With the after-school program? not that I'm aware of, specifically the Cayman, what we were doing at Cayman, that was the first time that I have been a part of something like that with the city. I've tried to do like half-day workshops and not had super success with that age group. Yeah, but the after-school program, I have not tried to run, but I did mention to Brian too, when they were talking about that in the spring, I was like, we could hire somebody and maybe do it. So I don't know. I'm interested to sit down and hear what he has to say about that and see what we can do.
Yeah, I agree. It's, I think, really expensive for what they're charging, you know, what's the cost of it now.
Yeah, and I guess I'd just like to look at maybe on our side, and has Cicely even gotten back to you about whether or not they're on board?
Brian has been in communication with them about that. I think they were still kind of in a holding process. I'm not sure. He had given them like a June 15th date. So, I'm not sure.
Do you know anything else about that?
Yeah, I talked with, I at least alerted, got a pretty good relationship with Alderman Fleming. And I called her and just said, hey, there's a possibility that we met with Brian and we might be looking at doing the program ourselves, I said, and having, that'll give us the wherewithal to kind of go and dictate what we want rather than the city going, hey, do it this way. And I said to her, I said, is there any way you can find out whether or not the city would be interested in including the meal money? Because I know that was something that they, and I said, yeah, what, because she was one of the ones who wanted to see this happen too. So I said, hey, what are the costs? What are we looking at just from your end, and how does that sound? And she was like, she was going to be here tonight, but she couldn't. So I'm kind of speaking for her tonight, but I was hoping she would come, but at the last minute she couldn't come. So anyway, she was very open to that and was happy that we were looking at a possibility. So,
Good.
And she's trying to find out everything she can on the city's end to help with that. So, yeah,
Okay.
very open.
Yeah, so anyway, that's,
I would have appreciated knowing about
Yeah,
it.
that was gonna be my
This seems
comment.
really under the radar.
We are not discussing that. You
Right,
are
you are
discussing
discussing
it.
Wait a minute,
That's the first I've heard about it.
Yeah, me too.
that's why I brought it up tonight, because we're
But
just
you
on the
already
budget.
You've already made it sound like it's been implemented and it's gonna be
No,
implemented.
we just asked Brian to look into it.
Okay, well then we should talk about it when they have a plan
Right.
and not as
Really?
this is something that we as a board have discussed and think is a great idea. Because I don't know if it's a great idea because I don't have enough information right now.
Yeah, this
And
should be
neither do we. We're just bringing it up because we went and talked to Brian about the budget because we're supposed to be voting on a tentative budget tonight. So we needed to discuss a few of the items. We have now a halftime person
Why couldn't you come to the meeting and discuss this before you?
because Brian is not available.
But you could go see him on Monday or tomorrow, or like you did last week.
But we're
I'm just
supposed-
saying
but
that
we're-
I feel like this is really,
If this is a budget.
It's not underhanded at all. We
It's a
just,
budget
the
item.
president and the vice president met with the executive director to discuss the budget for next year.
and you were talking to Natalie, and I had to say, I'd like to know what this is about.
I didn't talk to Natalie before tonight about it.
That's what I'm saying.
No, I
It
talked
didn't
to,
feel like you were gonna tell us. I had to say to you, well, what is this about?
no, we were just talking, that's why I brought it up while she was sitting here. I mean, I'm trying to be
Maybe Pat,
completely open
I-
about this.
I mean, you're talking to the council, you know, to the alderperson, you're,
What do you want to say?
yeah.
No, I was just gonna say, I can see how you can feel that way. I think it's looking a way that it's not. There's been plenty of times that I've been on the board here, Pat's been in the in the chairman's seat, and I've allowed him to, do his job with Brian. I mean, number one, we met with the executive director looking at ways that we could kind of swing this over to where we're dictating.
Where you
or-
two are.
No.
We were
As
bringing it
a
up.
group. Nothing is final. We haven't voted on anything. We just talked about possibilities. We have plenty
And
of
I'm
time.
fine with talking about
Yeah,
possibilities.
That's
Let's talk about the
maybe I
possibilities.
should have said that.
It should have been on the
Okay.
agenda. We
It
should
is on the
discuss-
agenda, discuss tentative budget.
You know what, Pat was president for years and I was vice president. Never did we meet aside from the board to discuss something that should have been discussed in the meeting.
I would argue with that. I'm sure you
You can
met with
argue with
Brian
that,
many
that's fine.
times over the
I'm sure I
budget.
met with Brian a lot, but, you
Yes.
know,
No, I don't think
you're
this is
talking to
underhanded
Cicely
at all.
to make it sound
Yeah,
like
you're
the
talking-
board has thought this is a good idea, when the board really hasn't
Yes.
discussed it at all. And
We
so
are-
Dan hasn't been
That's why
involved.
we're bringing it up tonight,
Okay,
because
but-
we have a tentative
Then why would
budget.
you ask Cicely if this was a possibility and that was a possibility? It seems like the board voted on it.
We did not vote on it.
And we know that.
How could we vote on it?
Well, we know you didn't. What I'm saying is it wasn't right to go discuss it with the
Why
other
not?
person.
Why not? She's the alderman of the ward, and she
You could have
wants to
invited her
see
to a meeting
this.
when we
She was
discussed
coming tonight, and I'm sorry she couldn't make it.
You should have waited till then to discuss it.
I mean, why can't we just discuss it right now? I
I
don't
guess
get
we
it.
can, but
We can
you
discuss
guys
it,
have already
Yeah,
discussed
I mean, I
it.
don't understand all the, getting all up in arms about this. We are just discussing possibilities. We are voting on a tentative budget tonight.
We
So
are
we're
a
throwing it
board.
all out there.
We are a board. You and Rob are not the board. We
Well,
are.
then let's work together, Debbie.
Yeah, but see, this has been a trend that's gone on.
Yeah.
No, this is,
every
the
month.
trend is that you fight every single thing we bring up.
That's not true.
No, it is true.
Are you looking
I'll put that out there right
It's
now.
because a lot of the times you're doing this that we're not involved in.
That's right.
No,
And
I
whether
would
it's Kane Lincoln
disagree.
School or Dan Point, we're not involved.
That's
in it.
right.
There's multiple things that have occurred to this board,
Like what else?
you know.
What else?
On a regular basis.
No, I don't think you're right. I think you're just bringing up crap because you don't agree
Oh,
with
no,
it.
I know situations that you had discussions about what was going on in the office that we brought up at the board and you had already had it. That Lincoln School thing, it was very clear that you guys had talked about it. It wasn't on the agenda, you guys knew what was coming down, and you voted.
What was going on in the office? What are you talking about the office?
Well, that's a little more personal, so if you want to, I'll call you and let you know.
Wow. I guess one of the thoughts,
Not personal for me, for the office staff.
the initial,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
besides the, problem in terms of excluding us from the conversation initially, aside from that, the situation where we're offering a program that really nobody pays for, I think needs some discussion and some consideration. Because
Absolutely.
we'd be offering a program that is free, basically. And so how does that relate to our programming that we charge money for? And how is that different? And I don't know the answer to this. I just want to bring it up as a conceptual, okay, Ridgeville is offering a program to the school
Well,
that is not paid for, and it's just paid for by the taxpayers of Ridgeville.
okay.
Do we just offer it to
Off the
shoot?
floor.
Do we just offer it to shoot school? Do we open it up to all schools? I mean, you
Well,
know.
we only have, I think, one school, and according to, we've got one middle school that's actually close proximity to our parks. The problem is that, one of the problems that we have in this district is that a lot of kids that are underserved have nowhere to be or go. There is no
No, I agree with you. I'm
program
just saying- I'm just
whatsoever on
saying
the
that's
south
part of the
end to
discussion.
have something going on.
Except why
You
are
know.
you?
I don't have a problem with that. I'm
Right,
just
and
saying-
Wow U is now on the other side of town. Their big flagship is, and they're running out of some of the schools too. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, they are.
But we don't have a whole lot going on. Now, I would
I
like to
agree with you on
contribute.
that. I'm
I would
saying
like to contribute to that.
That would have been part of the discussion.
What would the parents at Dawes School feel? I mean, I've heard many times that we don't do enough for the neighborhood in Dawes because we're so removed from Dawes. That comment has been made by multiple people. What do you do for us that live down in Hartray? So what would the parents of Dawes School say about offering a program?
That's a different age group.
I know it's a
I
different
get
group,
it.
but still, it's a Ridgeville program that we'd be offering for free, basically, to one school, where we have Washington School, we've got Dawes School, we've got, so there's more
Yeah.
issues here that I think need to be.
But we already voted on this. We already
Well, we
agreed.
did, because we did as a partnership.
Right.
So it was a different arrangement, it was a
Okay.
partnership. And we're always talking about doing partnerships. That's what we did.
Yeah.
And so in some respects, that was okay, because we were sort of the small part of it. We had the facility. We were willing to contribute dollars to it. But again, we were the partner and somebody else was taking the lead.
So Patrick, I remember in some of our past conversations, you being uncomfortable with the city kind of taking the lead. Here, I'm proposing, or we're proposing, that we at least, as a possibility, think about us taking the lead on something and trying it out for a year in this coming budget.
You know what?
And if it could be possibly half the cost, you know, I mean, we could trim down, because that's what Ridgeville do. We do a whole lot with a little bit.
You know what, I don't have a problem with discussing the program. I love it. I've said to Natalie before, we probably should run it ourselves, right? Because it'd be cheaper. My problem is the way you two didn't talk about it in a board meeting.
Well,
That's the issue, not the program.
I mean, we literally met with Brian on Tuesday of
So
this
where does
week.
it stand? I mean, if
Yeah.
Natalie and Brian are gonna get together.
Yes, they're gonna look at it. they're
Present
gonna-
us a proposal, present the board a proposal next month?
Or
Is
you
that-
guys
is
can
that the
see
status?
it first and okay it.
Well, next month, I mean, the thing is it has to be detailed and, you know, the thing is the reason why we discussed it when we did was because we are voting on a tentative budget tonight. So it affects our tentative budget.
Are any of those numbers in this tentative budget?
Yes.
What numbers?
That's why I
I
brought it
don't
up.
even know what they're for.
Okay.
Well, it's just a ballpark figure, okay? So the way
Where is it?
it's in,
I don't see it.
That's not appropriate to.
Well, we're talking about it in the
chair
budget.
like that.
Where is it?
Where is it?
What about you told that
I just
check
want to know
me?
where it is, you know?
It's in the recreation side. It's in the recreation side.
it's in special event supplies. Okay, you know, let's make this meeting a little more orderly and not interrupt each other. I think everyone's getting a little bit out of order. I'm gonna have to shut that down, okay?
No problem.
Okay, so
RA.
in special event supplies, RA 28, it's now at 31.5, and that's anticipating some of those expenses. And so you can go back to the detail on that.
And it was 12,000 before,
And now it's,
31.5.
but 12,000 includes
Detail line
everything.
item there is 22,000 for the.
22,000 for the after-school program.
Look at the detail version of the report. No.
RA 28 line, look in the
For each
detail.
budget, we've got a summary page.
RA
and
28.
behind it.
It's after-school program, basically went from 12,000 to 22,000. Again.
Right, and looking at that as running ourselves.
Look at what is running ourselves, would be how much?
22,000.
22,000 would be what it
we
was.
agreed to recently is 12,000. So if we don't decide to run this ourselves, then we basically committed to the city to spend 22,000 bucks.
No, that's not it. This is a tentative budget, and Brian has explained to me that it is not, you know, next month we get to say, no, this is,
I would say no to that right
With the
now.
budget, yeah, but didn't we
I
tell
would
them
keep it
that you
12,000.
would do that?
We told them
We
12,000.
told
no,
them.
this is,
$12,000.
with this figure is, what is in mind here is that we would run the program ourselves.
But if.
Okay, we haven't committed anything to the city right now. We've committed 12,000, they haven't committed anything to us. So this line item was with the idea that we would run ourselves. They're gonna run the numbers. I don't even know if 22,000 would cover it.
I wouldn't agree.
I'm not going to agree to
I'm not
that.
gonna agree to that either.
Okay. And then the other figure was, because we had a surplus from the salary from the office manager. So that amount was, let's see, there was a savings of, do you know what the savings was, Jerry?
I don't. Unless it's this handwritten note here. It's in my-
Yeah, I think it is, and I'm not sure of the exact amount. But anyway, we spread that out to, also to the playground and park equipment. So we went from 13 to 31,000 there, with the idea that lighter park equipment could be enhanced. So that's where we put that money. So that's kind of the shift that happened with the, changing that. So what's going to happen is Anna's going to be here through the end of September. We're going to bring somebody in September 15th to train with her. So for 2 weeks, it's going to be kind of a double salary there. And then for 9 months, it's going to be the part-time office assistant. So it's going to be 25 hours a week. So that's a savings. And so that's where the shift is coming.
I thought I could be wrong, but I thought we talked about that money doing something else. I can't remember. I don't know. There were all these. All right.
We were talking about the repairs.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Right.
It's okay.
Repairs to the arts.
Okay, thank you.
That's what it was. We were talking about using some of that money for repairs to the arts. I mean, there's only a certain amount of money.
No, that's still in there. That was added to that.
Right, we're not
So it was like,
taking
it would be, I think that was like a 10,000, and then so that the 21,000 or whatever the total amount would be going to, the 21,000 would be going to Lighter Park.
To Lighter Park?
Yes.
Yeah, it's got the oldest equipment.
Yeah, I was, gotcha.
I would prefer to put more into the studio, frankly. We got 4,500 is what I'm looking at, is that correct? Just the air conditioning, I don't know if the air conditioning would pay for this budget.
There was a problem too, they said, with some kind of water or something, or leakage when they were gonna do the furnace. Do you know what that's gonna cost?
That was a gas leakage.
Has that been fixed yet?
Not that I know of.
Is
And I
that
don't
gonna
know.
cost us extra?
So that's in building maintenance. The thing is I don't think we could do much with equipment for much less than, $20,000 in a park. I mean, that's actually really low. But then Jerry did say also, and Brian said, that there's probably excess from this year.
It might be helpful if we kind of got back to the agenda order here and finished the reports, did the financials, and then get into the budget discussion.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Okay.
Thanks, Jerry.
Yep. Looking at the financials, the first thing I'll start with is just a couple of key activities. Last month, we had the discussion of moving $250,000 from our cash accounts into a new relationship with Wintrust. That has been established, the money has been moved. I give great thanks to Charlie and to David Saunders for helping us get that established. It was a very challenging process to get it done, primarily because the local bank staff don't understand what it means to deal with a government agency or public funds such as we are, but their law firm has relationships with Wintrust and knew who the public funds people were that we needed to talk to, who then kind of banged on the heads of the local people to get them to help us get the process going. So that is all resolved and done, and the financials you'll see in a few moments reflect that. That took a little more time than I thought it was going to take to do, so I did not have time to try and work on establishing the Illinois Funds relationship. That'll be part of next month's update to you. Looking at the regular monthly reports, the first report I've got for you is the outstanding and unresolved items. The format of that report is a little different. I've had it kind of scattered across 3 different pages before, but due to a system update that has some new enhancements, I could get all the accounts back onto one page again. So it's a one-page summary of all the various categories. The nice thing is this is an excellent report. What's excellent about it is if you go down the date column, you can see there is, with the exception of one item dated back in February, nothing more than 2 board meetings old. And that is the way this report ought to look. And that is the first time in well over a year we've had our outstandings cleaned up to this condition. So that, kudos, that's what we're looking for. That looks great. If there's any negative to the report, it's that we do have some items that need to be charged off. You look at CA 98, the unapproved expenditures. It's been more than, it's been 2 board meetings that these have been hanging out there, and so we're now at the point where I need to ask the board to take action. I'm recommending that you approve the charge off reclassification of $498. $470 of that would be a reduction of program revenue, and $28 of that would be as office admin expense. And that has to do with the fact that we did have one payment by somebody for programs, the check bounced, and I don't know whatever to come of that, but the accounting entry is still lingering out there to be addressed. And then we have some bank charges related to that and some other activities that the office did that have been hanging out there. So motion T1 is my recommendation to the board there. I'll open on that.
I'll make a motion to write off $498 and CA 97.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now moving on to the appropriations ledger, thank you for that. Appropriations ledger, you can either work with the summary version or on the backside, I've got the more detailed version. This is the first of several versions of the June report that you'll see. This version has the financials that you know them now. There are things that you pass in the bills tonight and that you'll pass again in August that will affect these figures, and there is also the process of accruals. So over the next 2 board meetings, we're going to have a lot of adjustments to these numbers. But overall, what we're seeing is that we're running well below the budget, which is a good thing. And credit to Brian for very prudently and responsibly managing the day-to-day operations of the district. The payroll accruals will probably, it looks like we've got a remaining budget of about $102,000. The payroll accruals for the last pay period of July that gets paid out in June, it gets paid out in July, will probably be something in the ballpark of $40,000 to $50,000. So about half of that will go away just because of payroll entries, and then the rest will be depend on the bills and some of the other big accruals. Statement, and so that's really a measure of how we did relative to plan, but it doesn't really tell us how it's going to affect our fund balances yet. But we can guess it may be favorable because we're running on the budget. Statement of revenue and appropriations shows more of a cash flow view of things. If this does affect our fund balances potentially. The key thing I do there is I just go to the last line on the statement of revenue and appropriations. It says revenue over appropriations. And as you go across that line, there's really 2 lines in each box, an upper left figure and a lower right figure. The upper left figure is the budget, and the lower right is the actual. So overall, we are actually $103,000 over on the revenue side relative to the appropriation side versus a plan of about $19,000. So it's about an $80,000 favorable variance there. When you go fund by fund, most of the funds are pretty much as planned with the exception of the recreation fund and the capital improvement fund. The recreation fund is $96,000 over versus a plan of $7,000. And that's primarily due to the program revenue running at $130,000 versus a plan of $95,000. That's a good thing. That's a good work we managed there. So we couldn't spend that money in the fiscal year because it wasn't in the budget, the appropriations budget. So that's kind of money that can be put into the budget process for the year going forward. It's going to go into our fund balances, but you could look at using that fund, that money in the coming year as an alternative to just adding to our fund balances.
And does that have to be used the following year?
Well, you've got to get it into your budget in order to be able to do it. It's kind of a way, when you generate extra revenue, your opportunity to take advantage of that revenue is in the next budget season, which is what we're in the middle of right now.
So do we have to add that $80,000 then to next year's budget?
I wouldn't do the whole 80. I would focus on the 130 over the 95. Some of the other, is related to other issues in the column that I wouldn't bank on. But the numbers-
Maybe 35 then?
And also keep in mind over the capital improvement fund, we're only running a $3,000 deficit versus a plan of a $25,000 deficit. We're going to fund the deficit with the fund balance that we're sitting in, and we're completing the fund balance we did. So we still have roughly $21,000 that will be sitting in the capital improvement fund as well that could go towards funding. What I would comment about money that you turn back to the fund or anytime you're going to access the fund balance is, that's a one-shot deal. And once you tap it and use it, it's gone because you haven't necessarily generated the ongoing repeat of that revenue. It's not coming from taxes, it's program revenue funding that we have already in next year. So I would be cautious about using that type of money for paying ongoing staff salaries or ongoing, any type of program where it's an ongoing expense. It would be more appropriate to use for a one-time type of expense such as a capital improvement or a major building repair or new facilities in the park or something like that.
Like playground equipment?
Exactly. So that's a prime way to take advantage of that money. Because that's kind of in your budget that you've already got to keep in mind is what are we spending that's ongoing and what's the revenue source for that ongoing expense versus what are the things we're doing in the budget that are one-off things. And then, sometimes we fund it with taxes, other times we can fund it with fund balances or one-off special revenue opportunities.
So you'll have a more exact figure on that?
Well, yeah, unfortunately, by the time we have the final financials, and then, the difficulty of this is until the auditors then also layer in the depreciation and layer in the pension effects, we don't really know those numbers firmly until November, just past our budget season. We can get in the ballpark, but we can't get
Exactly.
to a precise number to work with. So we got some numbers to work with there.
So
I've had a conversation with Brian about that and told him that, that's something to think about as we work through the budget details. I've had no involvement in the budget up to this point, and what involvement I typically have is more at the end, late August, just having a reasonability check of all the numbers in the new budget relative to the actual expenses of the prior year. All this other stuff is discussion for you to have with him in the preparation of your budget, but I've had no involvement in that up to this point. But I highlight that opportunity to you, and I highlighted it to him to be factored into his process.
So you probably think that we could probably add about 35,000?
Yeah.
Okay. That's good to know.
The balance sheet and trial balance, I've been just giving you the balance sheet each month, which is a summarized version of the GL trial balance. It matches how the annual report looks, and so that's the reason I've been giving that one. But this month I also gave you the general ledger trial balance, which is a little more complicated, more detail in it. The main reason I did it was so that you could see the Wintrust relationship added into the chart of accounts and where it falls. So if you look at the asset section of the general ledger trial balance, and go down to account 209, you can see that we've got the Wintrust relationship there. Like our relationship with what was First Bank and Trust, now known as Byline, we actually have two accounts. They require you to maintain a cash account in addition to the investment account. It's just a stupid rule that they have. So we put a minimal amount of $1,000 into the cash account. We put $249,000 into our investment account. The nice thing about this is that is going to also generate us $7,500 of revenue next year that we didn't have this year. So there's more money in our budget process.
All right. Thank
So,
you.
I'm sorry, are we over the FDIC limit on any of these funds at this point?
No, not at this point. We were before this maneuver, and we're now in good shape.
Okay.
The reason to kind of going forward with the Illinois funds relationship going is we've got a number of those funds sitting in accounts where we're earning below market rates of return, and so we could boost our rate of return, and probably improve our liquidity position by considering the Illinois funds relationship.
So have we considered that to take the next step on that?
That's the next step. I'll give you an update next month. I'm gonna go through the process of figuring out the paperwork and the process for establishing the relationship, and then we'll talk about what money and how we want to move. That's my report.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you. Moving on then to discuss the tentative budget. Any more comments on that?
I guess it's going to take me a little time to compare the differences from the budget I looked at last time and this budget. So,
What I would say about passing the budget tonight is it's mainly tonight more just a legal formality that we've got to pass one. These aren't binding figures at this point. This is not the final budget. That vote will happen in September. So we've still got time to work through the number of issues that have come up, as well as changes in the revenue sources to try and.
So you can pass the tentative, but it's tentative, and you can
Yeah, I
discuss
don't know why
it.
they require a tentative.
It's
You're
tentative.
using this as a guide.
Make sure you're
to
looking
sure
at it.
well.
Make sure we're
We're still gonna work on it.
It's
Yeah.
kind of like Anna Christina's draft of the bills. It's kind of so that the public has access to something to know what we're kind of talking about in the ballpark,
Yeah.
but it's not committing us to anything at this point.
Okay.
And there's still public feedback that's got to be
Right.
allowed for, and more refinement on our part.
So we should pass something tonight, tentative. I guess.
Right.
I think legally we have to pass something.
We have to pass something tonight.
I don't know, there's so many.
What?
Yeah,
You just
it's
gotta
not,
know what
it's
happens
not
if we
set in
don't. Like,
stone,
we have a
so
lot of
to
these
speak.
things kind of in the law. It's like, it's real good about saying we have to do it, but it's not terribly good at telling us what happens if you don't.
Well, it's-
But we really don't want to find out, so.
Right.
Well, we should,
We should.
or you should, yes.
So in the recreation fund, I see we went from 359,500 to 388,800. I know where 10,000 of that is. Where's the additional 18 or so? What, short of going through, looking at every change that's been made,
There's that. And
I guess I could just go through it quickly and look.
Brian said in a note to me that he put on mine, he said we added 20,000 to the Lighter Park Play Circuit.
Okay.
Yeah.
In
We
our,
went from
he said CR 17.
Right, and also the supplies.
so does that mean 20,000 plus what, or 20,000 in all we've allotted for Lighter Park? Are we added some to that?
Yeah. We added to Lighter Park, 20,000, and then we added to special event supplies, another 10,000, or was it 9,000? And there were a couple of other
Special
small,
event supplies, that's where,
that's where the after-school program
that's
is.
the after-school program, so
Right.
that's 20,000 there, okay. But in
And-
addition, then we added supplies in addition to that?
No, that was just that after-school program. And then there were a couple of,
While we're mentioning the after-school program, from just a treasurer's perspective, the community partnership, all the other types of things, I don't have an opinion. But from a financials perspective, what appeals to me as the treasurer about us running the program is it makes more sense to me as far as our authority to tax the taxpayers and fund something. What has been troublesome to me on one level that I've been trying to get clarity on, but not anything specific to really talk about yet, is the fact that we as a taxing body would tax our taxpayers to bring in revenue that we have the authority to do for a recreation program, but then we give the money to another government agency, the city, for them to then do something that may or may not be in compliance with the definition of a recreation program is something we do. And accounting-wise, how we carry that on our books. Last year, we kind of squeezed it in as special event supplies because we had no new account. But in the new budget, we would really need to more appropriately have a well-defined entry in
Category.
our chart of accounts for it. The question is that a general corporate fund entry? Is that a recreation fund entry? Is it an intergovernmental transfer? I don't even know how that, the ramifications of that. So, it was just troublesome to me, but I didn't have anything really specific to talk about in much detail yet. I've been trying to get answers from the auditors. They've been non-responsive. I don't know if the reason they've been non-responsive is because to maintain their independence, they won't give us guidance. We have to act, and then they respond with how we did something and say that was good or bad. Or whether it's just because I don't think formally they've been engaged yet for the next year, and so they're just staying silent because they don't see there being an established relationship for them to give us the advice yet. And I avoided going to our legal counsel on the issue just because I didn't want to run legal bills until I kind of tried all the free ways to get an intelligent answer on it. So that's just kind of some thought behind it, why the minute you start talking about putting it into our set of programs, it just makes a lot of those thoughts and concerns dissipate.
Yeah.
I guess what I don't really understand is I thought the savings was coming from having the new office manager, but then that's not really reflected in the corporate fund. I mean, the corporate fund is only like $2,000 difference. But then we've got a $30,000 difference in the recreational fund.
I don't know, I mean, if you look at it may be just, he'd already had it moved, because if you look at what's there for the office manager, C4, that's clearly a reduced amount from prior years.
Right, but then it doesn't really add up overall, like you're only having $2,000 difference because we're adding Natalie, we're adding health insurance, but taking away another health insurance. So something's not quite right. It doesn't seem in the difference in the funds.
Like I say, I haven't been involved in what's going on here, but
Could you take a look at that?
I really need Brian to have explain what he's done. And
Okay.
say what's happening. And that's been the challenge. Brian, with his health issues, he's been really hard having conversations.
Normally what they've done in the past is they cross something out. Okay, take the old one, and just cross it out and make a copy of it, and then we'll know.
That's what he did at the meeting, and I thought he would have had that.
And again, if I look at the corporate fund detail and go to line CA4, the numbers make sense. You've got $18,000 for Anna Christina, and you've got $18,000 for the new part-time office assistant. There's your $36,000. So,
I guess what
Yeah,
doesn't make
that's-
sense is in the recreation fund, how that's gone up so much. Unless he's just including that $35,000 already.
I think he already had to Natalie's salary, and we moved some of it over there, and then we added in the $10,000 for the after-school, and we added in the $20,000 for the play equipment. So-
Right, but all that should just be coming out of other funds. But I guess what I don't understand is from the 343 to the 388, in the recreation fund.
And maybe because you're kind of grabbing it in the middle of the process rather than you're not comparing it to the starting point of how was last year's numbers marking forward. You're comparing it one draft to another draft, and an earlier draft had partial accounting for some of the stuff already in there. The stuff with Anna Christina was already accounted for in the previous draft, so there's no change in this draft for it.
Yeah, but in the recreation fund, this is actual versus
The
projected.
moving of Natalie from part-time to full-time was already in the previous draft. So you just have a lot of moving parts. Do they add up? You gotta go kind of line by line and see, does it make sense line by line? Then the total is what the total is.
Okay, well, I mean, that's just a big jump, and we don't usually jump that much. Right? I mean, it's usually like 3% at the most.
Well, actually, our 343 was $100,000 less than the year before.
Oh, it was?
Yeah. But that was because we had the 90,000 or so for Bromo Park, as the CDBG project in there.
Ah.
And later, for this year, had it over instead capital improvement.
I got you, okay.
So yeah, the numbers do move pretty significantly year to year, depending on what kind of things we have going on.
Depending
Okay.
on what month it is, right?
Okay, we're just trying to understand it, that's all. All right, so we do need to vote on the tentative budget.
Well, I said I'm not going to vote to approve increasing the after-school program from 12,000 to 20,000. So if you want to take that down to 12,000 that we agreed to a month ago, 2 months ago, I'm okay with fiddling around with it, after we all have a chance to take a closer look at this and do that. But I'm not going to vote on increasing it.
So where do you want to put that?
I don't care if we take it out and don't have it anyway.
You're passing a tentative, take it out tonight and bring it back, or do whatever, we'll discuss it again.
I don't think it's necessary that if we're gonna save some money from Monaco City Sailor,
We
that
don't
we
have to use
spend all that money. I want to have some money for the art studio, make sure we have enough there. I don't know that 4,500 is enough. I think we probably need more. We're not probably ready to spend money on $20,000 on Lighter Park yet. I know a couple of small pieces of equipment can be replaced out there right now, but I don't know that the big set can be replaced right now. So I think there's just some things that we probably need Brian to have some input on. But I definitely want enough money to, do something decent to the art studio. $4,500, I don't know if that's enough. Again, I'm not sure if we paid for the air conditioning already or not. I don't think we have, but $4,500 probably pay the air conditioning and do nothing else. Paint it, improve the floor, improve the walls, fix it up upstairs, take out the, do the stuff we talked
I
about.
thought the air conditioner was back, that's more.
Yeah.
No, it's the heater, it's the furnace we're talking about.
The furnace that.
Yeah, we're talking about the furnace,
Okay.
because we're talking about heating it year round.
Well, again,
Well, I guess just on a technical issue, I just don't know, do we have to pass the total amount? Or all these categories, do they have to be,
It's just tentative.
it's just
That's the
tentative?
way they
If
explain
you
it.
want to reduce it by 12,000, whatever the number was, you can reduce it by that, you can always add it next time. You take that 12,000 and put it in a different category if you want.
Yeah, I would say that we.
At that point, you could amend it from what's printed out here,
Yeah,
and then pass that.
Oh, so we
Amend
can
it
make a
by either take the 10,000 out of special event supplies and adding it to CA 13 for the art studio, or amend it by just reducing it totally.
So we can
and
make
bring
a
it back.
motion to pass the tentative budget minus, that's one way to do it, minus.
yeah.
Minus the 12,000.
12,000.
I would say that we really shouldn't take the money out. I'd like to leave all the funds in.
Well, it's a
Put it in
tentative
the
amount.
air studio.
Yeah, put it.
Well, I'd prefer to put it in Lighter Park.
Have you gone and looked at the equipment in Lighter Park recently? And really taken a close
Really
look
looked at
at it? Determined that it needs to be replaced this year?
All of it.
I have.
Well,
All of
it's
it.
old.
I'm not an expert, but I have.
Yeah, but
I mean, I think that would be worth looking at. So I guess I don't really think that we really agree on where the money should go. So I have a hard time passing something that,
So let's just take it out,
Maybe
yeah.
next
all
month.
right, we'll take out it's 10,000, or 9,000, wasn't it?
No, it's 10.
No.
It went from 12 to 22,000 for the after-school program.
I think it went from 13 to 22. I think it was 9,000
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah.
I think you might be right about the 13,
Right, it was
because I think it's like 1,000 for
Right.
the internet service
There you
or
go.
supplies or something like that.
Let's
So
take-
12,000 to the city plus a little
So
something.
9.
So you're going to pass, you need a motion to pass the tentative budget less, I don't know what the dollar amount was, less that dollar amount in,
RA 28.
RA 28.
So RA 28 was, you said it was,
11,000.
it was
It
I
was
think it was
13.
13 in the previous draft.
Is this not blank?
I don't have, well, that's actual last year.
Well, it's not only the 11,000, it would be 31.5 minus 9.
Right.
Because there's other things in that fund. I mean, if you look in the detailed
Right.
report.
Oh.
Yeah.
You got
Okay.
the east one,
So that would be 31 minus 9 is
22,500.
22.5. Okay.
And then in the next page, it should be, the 22,000 should be 13,000.
13,
For the
yeah.
detail page.
Okay.
Okay.
And then,
So the other way you can do it is you just mark up one of these and have that as a tentative budget that's adopted.
okay.
Mark off like, say, RA 28?
No, just,
change.
Oh,
Change
change
it all.
it, just change it on here and then.
right, and
pass
that's
it.
the one that's passed.
Okay.
And then our recreation fund total is going to be minus 9,000, so 379.8, is that right?
Yes.
3 what?
379,800.
Okay. So I'll make a motion that we pass the tentative budget in the amount of, what'd you say?
379,800.
379,800.
For
That's the recreation
For
fund.
recreation, yeah,
And the corporate is,
let's see.
316,212.
300, yeah, what is it?
316,212.
212, okay. Yeah.
Okay, you made a motion on something.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Do we have to have a roll call on that?
No,
Okay. All right.
but you can if you want.
No, I don't think so. Do you, Chris, have to say it?
No.
Okay. All right, so, the art studio renovations we just discussed, the furnace is what the 5,000 is.
5,000.
So, maybe before next meeting, we should just look at the art studio and Lighter Park and just kind of get an idea of what is needed in both places. So we have a little more information for that.
We definitely need a new scoop if we want to keep a scoop. The scoop is
It's
broken.
rotting, yeah.
It's got a hole in it and it could be a little dangerous. It's overshot. The scoop
Okay.
is probably $1,000, but
The
it's,
stoop?
it's a scoop.
Scoop.
Kids like it, but
Oh.
the bottom is, it's used so much it's worn out, so there's a hole in it and there's a sharp edge on it.
Okay, gotcha, okay. I don't really have anything for strategic planning and goals right now, or the annual review process. Then I thought we already approved the auditor last month, didn't we, Jared?
I thought we had two.
We did.
Is it in the minutes?
I thought we did. Do we have to do it again?
No, I think
we
that's,
did it.
I don't think that's correct, I think we already did that.
We did it last.
Yeah, we did. It's in the new business motions. So I think it just didn't get off the agenda.
Okay, is there any other new business that anyone wants to bring up? You guys want to bring in any other new business? No? Okay. And then, so then we're now back to citizen comments. Do you guys have any more comments? No? Okay. Okay, I'll move to, entertain a motion.
Adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Let's do that for agenda.
So next month's meeting is
Oh, yeah, that's one thing, it's
a
gonna change
Wednesday.
to August 8th.
Okay.
Yeah,
August 8th.
yes. And you're not gonna be here, right, Charles?
I will not be here.
Okay.
I must have had yours for some reason. I had two.
But if we need someone else.
Oh, is that what it was?
I guess.
Okay.
I don't know. That's Brian's, right? I was just waiting on this agenda and then I must have two of them. You said you didn't have any.
I had
Oh,
it
but
here.
you did? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have two.
Okay, thank you.
I don't see that on the agenda, by the way. About the after-school program. Where would it have been?
I didn't put it on there. So it was in the bills. I mean, I thought it was taken care of because you commented on it.
No, I'm talking about the after-school program.
It was when we were discussing the tentative budget,
Oh,
that's when we
oh,
brought
it
it
would've
up.
been-
Yeah.
Keep it on.
don't have time.
Oh, yeah, I gotta take this off.
Oh, darn it.
Oh, yeah, I
I
got it.
did. Ugh. I
What's
never
that?
got a copy of those minutes, Ann, from the
minutes?
executive session, from that Saturday meeting.
Oh, yeah, I sent those to Brian. I sent them to Julie too. You've got them, right?
Yeah, I thought you sent them to me and also to Anna Christina.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to send anything out to all of us for
Right.
open meetings. So I guess I assume somebody else will send us out. I'm not allowed to send
No,
that
I
stuff
understand
out.
that, but I thought Julie or Anna was told to send them to us. You were gonna give them our,
I think I did say that, didn't I?
Yeah, you
I
sent
thought
it
you
to
did
me
at the
and
last
Anna.
meeting.
I think I said that in the email.
Right, but I don't have everyone's contact info either, so only
Anna
Anna
was
sends
supposed to have
things
sent that.
to
yeah.
people, so.
I mean, she's supposed to see it.
It's just very, I mean.
It doesn't matter, I'm just saying.
No, I mean, it's just very general, because you're not really supposed to give really detailed minutes.
Oh, the minutes, okay, so
Yeah.
I'd like to have them in the notebook, that's the other thing.
Okay, yeah, I mean, we
Yeah,
can,
I remember the last meeting,
you
you
ask
said you
Anna?
were gonna do it, and you would send her the email addresses. You said, I have them all, I can give them to you.
well, I sent it to Anna, and that she was supposed to do it.
I don't care who, how I have them, I just would like to have them.
Sure, I mean, I did send them,
I know, they just got stopped somewhere.
yeah. Sometimes that happens. It's been kind of a crazy month here at Ridgeville.
It's always a crazy one for the result.
Well, I think especially with Brian gone, I mean, it's a lot. It's been a lot.
So he's just been doing like half days,
I think he's been doing like an hour.
an hour.
I heard it's going on a lot of things.
Yes, he is.
They talked about doing that surgery on me and, don't want it. But he was much worse than I was, much, much worse. I didn't play baseball.
Oh. Good night, Debbie.
Bye.
Bye. I don't know what to do with all this stuff.